right? Yes, my chewing gums are plastic free. I would love to be 100% plastic free company.
Since you've been on Shark Tank, you've been pitched there.
We didn't go ahead with the deal on that we received on Shark Tank. Hundreds of mails coming into the mailbox saying, "Hey, I want to invest in your company. If you can start them while you're in college, nothing like it."
Welcome to BS Talks, where the BS stands for Branched Up Non-Bullshit. So most of us always think of gum as a quick fix for like a bad breath or an awkward pause or just probably boredom. Guest for today has looked at it as a tiny chew, then saw some huge potential in it. So the huge potential that you saw was a plastic problem. So before I get started, brothers in business, how did this idea come about?
It's a long story, but you know what? When we grew up in a family that didn't consume a lot of plastic. Even when sustainability was not the buzzword, we used to carry around shopping bags. Like we've seen our parents carry their own shopping bags, not really buy a lot of packet drinking water, fill their water bottles as much as possible. So it was kind of ingrained in the family that, as much as possible, cut down on your plastic consumption. I used to chew a lot of gum when I was in school. And when I realized that regular chewing gums are all made of plastic, this was back in 2010, I said, I don't want to chew gum anymore, because at that point in time, the question was about necessity versus just leisure. And at that time, using a plastic straw was a necessity to drink coconut or drink juice, because there was no metal straw available, but chewing gum was not. So I quit gum for 7 years until when I was in Martinez when I was doing my master's. That's when I saw that the actual chewing gums that our forefathers ate was not even plastic. It was actually a tree sap, which was plant-based and biodegradable. And I said, okay, I always had it at the back of my mind that, okay, maybe I should bring this back into India someday. So that was in 2017, but we actually launched about into 2022. We launched up 2018 there.
And COVID did too.
Exactly.
So did the COVID wave impact your business growth as a startup with a very unique idea at that moment?
We started because of COVID. The whole family was locked up and didn't have a lot of plot to do. So it was just, like doing crazy experiments. And that's when my elder brother Bhuvan, he told me that, if you can make the gum, I can do the design. Do you really want to do it? And I said, okay, I can order in the ingredients and we make a few patches at home itself and see what happens. So I ordered all the ingredients and started making the gums at home. Then sent it out to a few friends of friends to get some feedback. And the feedback was good. Was something that you would expect as well. People liked the product. And people also did not know that their regular chewing gums were made of plastic, right? So that's also very important, because when you're doing business, you need a strong differentiator for it to be able to scale. And when there's a differentiator like your regular chewing gum is plastic, Gud Gum is not. It helps sell it. So that's how it started. Like COVID was actually the reason why we started off.
So you tried to save the environment, whether our goal was in a dark space, let's say, hey, someone with a good objective. But when you brought about the idea that I'm going to make gum out of tree sap, what is people's reaction for it?
A lot of people initially said, like, dude, why does this problem need solving? Like, it's chewing gum in such a tiny tree. Why do you need to solve it? Like, there's lots of other larger things that that need solving. Like, people are solving for plastic-free packaging, which is like a larger business volume. Chewing gum is very tiny, but in my mindset, I had it that, okay, even the smallest of problem need to be solved. And with a chewing gum, if I'm able to plant a seed of sustainability in the consumer's mind, then that's a big job done for me, right? So every time somebody chews Gud Gum, they now know that their daily products also have plastic in them, and they move towards being a little bit more sustainable as and when. Right?
Conscious of their choice.
Correct. So that we are more of a lifestyle brand than just a product brand.
So was there a moment where you felt like, okay, it's about how I frame my product and the product itself where it will sell? Was there ever a moment like that for you?
No, it was always the product. When we started Gud Gum, we started with Gud Gum, but the idea is for us to be the good amongst the bad. Right? So today we are Gud Gum. Tomorrow we'll solve for anything that is bad and make a good version out of it. We started with Good Gum, but keeping in mind that, okay, the further product pipeline can have certain sustainable things, can have certain healthier things, because we're not a sustainability brand, but we're a food brand, so we need to be at a cusp of both. But over time, kind of realized that in India, people don't want to pay a premium for sustainability, right? When I give them a chewing gum that does not taste as good as their artificially flavored chewing gums, and double the price of their artificially flavored chewing gum, they'll not want to pay that premium, right? Just because it's sustainable. But the minute I say that this chewing gum is good for you, or your regular chewing gums have microplastic which go into your system and can screw your system up, but this chewing gum does not, that's when they really want to buy the product, right? So then we put sustainability on the back end. We said, okay, our chewing gum is good for you, but also sustainable. Initially, we used to call ourselves the sustainable chewing gum.
So where did the vegan angle of the chewing gum come into play?
Vegan angle was always there. There's again a lot of myth around chewing gums containing pig fat, or like
Yes.
I must have seen those.
The rumors that
Yeah,
used to have.
yeah.
Yes.
So people must have seen all sorts of those videos that chewing gums have all sorts of animal products in it. But honestly, Indian chewing gums never had them. Chewing gums by default are vegan if made the right way. So vegan was always there. It's just not promoted.
That's true.
Okay.
So, like usually gum by nature has a very rebellious, or it's associated with rebellion.
Yeah.
But you have a sustainable angle to it. So how you try to bridge that? How are you bringing it to the Gen Z audience that, hey, this is essential for you. This is plastic free. How are you bringing that in your marketing USPs?
So we're just doing our job by educating people that, hey, first, your chewing gums are crap. Second, there's an alternative. Until today, there was not an alternative available, but today you do have an alternative available, right? And also educating people about why they should not be chewing their cheaper gums, because the cheaper gums have sugar in them, have artificial colors, have artificial flavors, all sorts of nasty things. Now, when a chewing gum has sugar in it, what happens is it stays in your mouth for about 20 minutes of your chewing time, and all the bad bacteria in your mouth is going to feed on that sugar and excrete acid. And that acid drills holes.
Okay.
And those holes are called cavities, right?
Correct.
But with a sugar-free chewing gum, what happens is the xylitol helps in preventing those cavities from forming. It starves out the bad bacteria. It cleans up your teeth. If there's any food stuck in between your teeth, it peels it up. It starves that bad bacteria and does not let it form cavities. So chewing a sugar-free gum on the longer run will not let you go to the dentist ever, right? So we're educating people on those lines and making it an essential product. When you look at the West, people in America, people in Europe chew a lot of gum because dentistry is expensive. They can't afford to have a cavity because they know they'll have to spend hundreds of dollars to get that cavity filled.
Correct. No insurance.
Right? But in India, because dentistry is so cheap, people are very complacent, people are very reactive. That, okay, cavities ho jayega, we'll get it filled because it's cheap. We don't even brush, majority of the people don't even brush twice a day, forget once a day, right? So that's something that we're trying to push, that again, make this a part of your lifestyle. And you'll overall feel better, your oral care will be taken care of.
So you've mentioned that it's part of their lifestyle. So do you identify Good Gum as a lifestyle brand or an FMCG brand? Because you also said you moved sustainability to the back burner because you needed to talk about the micronutrients.
Yeah, I mean, I would call it a mix of both. I wouldn't call it a lifestyle brand alone. When we do scale, we are going to scale in the food products itself. So I call it an alternate FMCG brand.
Alternate.
Yeah.
Okay. So and when with your interactions with your market, do you look at the product as how are they talking about their association with the product? Are they looking at it as a sustainable choice, just as that, or a cool accessory? Because we are in a world where people are choosing to be vegan because it's the buzzword. It's all about the buzzword. So where do you stand?
We'd love to be on the second side, right? Yeah, sustainability, again, I say, it's a very small piece of population that cares about sustainability as yet. But our area is to make sustainability sexy, right? If you can be cool and also be sustainable, until today, a person who's just sustainable would be called a nerd, right? But if we can make that same sustainable sound sexy, that's what we're after. So that's why we're working on cooler packaging, cooler colors, cooler flavors, And that's the info we need to put out is saying, sustainability is not boring. It can be fun as well.
So you're trying to reduce plastic in your product, but what about the marketing aspects of it, your production aspects of it? How are you consuming plastics in those meters?
See, plastic, I'm a chemical engineer. Plastic is a great material. It's just not used or recycled properly. And what plastic solves, nothing else can solve, right? If you do actually look at the packaging that we have, you will see the gums are packed in a Ziploc, which is made of plastic. The first 2 years of our business, we sold the gum directly packed into paper box because we wanted to be 100% plastic free chewing gum. But over time, we realized that, okay, the Bangalore weather is still okay because it's dry and not very humid. But when we started sending out gums to Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Goa, all these places which are humid, our gum has something called xylitol. That's why it makes the gum hygroscopic, which means the atmospheric moisture gets latched onto the gum and makes it sticky.
Okay.
Right? So if there's no plastic barrier, the atmospheric moisture will cling onto the gum and make it sticky. Right? And that's when we had to take a hard call to use plastic in the gum. So now what we also do is all the plastic that we consume, be it in our transport, in our raw material or packaging, we keep a count of it, and we work with a company called the disposal company, which looks at how much is our plastic consumption and recycles that much amount of plastic from the landfill. So we're offsetting our plastic consumption by recycling the same amount of it or even more from the landfill.
That's really nice. So you collaborate with this particular company, and what do you, as a startup, collaborate with other brands as well for your visibility and awareness?
Yeah, we do make some co-branded products with a few other companies. So we make an oral care chewing gum with Perfora. Perfora is a oral care brand that's come out in the last 3 years. They have a larger distribution than us. They've been around for a larger timeline. And yeah, the founder reached out. He said he wanted a gum in the flavor of their toothpaste because they sell mouthwashes, they sell toothpaste, they sell toothbrushes, but people ask them that, hey, we want, mouth freshness on the go. Why don't you also start doing gum? So we made a collaborative product with them. So it's Perfora gum made by Gud Gum. So both the brands are on the packaging. So it's, basically piggybacking on each other to get to a larger audience. And that's how we can fight with the larger brands of the country.
That was actually going to be my next question. Would you look into going into your mainstream brands? For instance, are all built or the Center Freshes. You can't use the same marketing applications that they do, or Accepty. Like you mentioned, you are not D2C online, you're D2C in store.
Yeah.
So what is a challenge that when you're in the top tier cities? For instance, you mentioned Bangalore to me, you mentioned Hyderabad, Chennai.
Yeah.
But shouldn't you, how are you going to do awareness in our tier B sort of cities?
Awareness is purely using online mediums. We're looking at using Instagram, YouTube Shorts, podcasts, Medium, etc. to educate people that, okay, a product like this exists. People are welcome to buy it online, but we try to focus and push them to stores nearby. So we have a store located on the website which is very active that people can put in their PIN code and find out which store is available around their vicinity. Because see, chewing gum is something which is instant gratification. We want it quickly. So if not quick commerce, retail presence is what we're after. And even with the tier 2 cities, we're focusing on the top 10, top 15 supermarkets of that particular city because our target audience is going there, right? So our idea is to not create push. We don't want to sell the gum to 100 people where only 10 come back and buy it, but you want to sell gum to 20 people where 20 people come back and buy it. So very, very focused on areas of certain cities because right now the chewing gum is expensive, right? I do agree that chewing gum is expensive. It used to be a pack of 99 for 15 chewing gums, but because of the GST change, it became 88 for a pack of 15 chewing gums. And that's not something a layman can afford, right? For chewing gum, it's not a necessity. So we are working on making a cheaper variant of it. But the kind of ingredients that we use makes the gum expensive. And that's why we want to sell in the places where people who can afford it will buy it from.
So we were talking about the pricing, the current pricing of your product. That is after GST, the product has now come down to 88 rupees per pack and also in 134,
Yeah.
if I'm right.
Yeah.
So do you have a guilt for pricing high in such a way that you're creating a differentiation of who accesses the product? For instance, it creates that cost pricing is only accessible to certain tiers of the society. Do you have the guilt for it?
Definitely not guilty. We're not trying to demarcate and create tiers. We'd love for everybody to consume good gum. But the cost is high because of two major things. One is your regular chewing gums like Puma, Center Fresh, Center Fruit are all sweetened by sugar. And a usual recipe of chewing gum, 70% is the sweetener itself, right? So 70% of the Center Fresh is sugar, whereas 70% of our chewing gum is xylitol. Sugar is 40 rupees a kilo and xylitol is 400 rupees a kilo. So you can directly see there's a 10x price difference for just a 70% of the ingredient, right? Uh, that's one of the reasons. Secondly, all of these chewing gums are large manufacturers. They make probably 2 to 3 tons a day, whereas our gums are all made in a small factory, hand cut. We hire a large folk of women with incomplete education in the past and train them with respect to just cutting the gums, packing them, and give them a decent work, right? So that's why the labor is also high and the packaging and the ingredient cost is high, and that's why the chewing gum is expensive. But yes, over time, when we also get into the large production times, I think the margins will increase, and that's when we can reduce the cost and make it more accessible to people. But today, the chewing gums do sound expensive because you're buying 15 chewing gums at 88. But if we do sell an individual chewing gum at 5 rupees, when that's compared to Boomer at 1 rupee, that's not too much of a price difference,
Correct.
right? So we did not launch the single-use chewing gums till date because we were contemplating whether to use single-use plastic or not. But we realized at the end of the day, we're a chewing gum company. Sustainability just comes along.
Correct.
So might as well make it more accessible for a larger population and start selling the individual chewing gums.
So, natural flavor of a chewing gum goes down in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
So, how do you push that to your client? What is your conversation with your customers?
That's the only feedback that we receive for good gum, right? Like the flavor does not last long. If you read the comments, like chewing gum खा के 20 सेकेंड नहीं हुए रबर जैसा feeling आ रहा है, all sorts of these feedback is what we get, and that's completely all right because see we're not using any of these artificial sweeteners. If you flip the packaging of a product like Trident or Wrigley's 5, these are all these premium imported chewing gums. They have sweeteners like aspartame, sulfame, potassium, saccharin, etc. And these are all 500 to 600 times sweeter than sugar. So for your understanding, using 1 gram of that will give you equivalents of 600 grams of sugar, the sweet perception. So in a tiny piece of chewing gum, which is about 1.4 gram, I can't, those guys can use just 0.01 grams of it and get a larger perception of flavor. But I can't because the xylitol that we use is almost as equal as sugar in the sweet perception, right?
The volume you use to build that is also
It's
fast.
also, yeah. So like we just educate people saying, okay, your artificial flavors, artificial sweetness give you that prolonged sweetness, and it's not the best to consume those artificial sweeteners on a longer run.
Yeah, just for that big win, you have to make
Exactly.
these small flavor
Yes.
compromises. So we know that there are so many big players in the game, and everyone now, not just in your industry, but in all industries, there is this fad of sustainable theater happening where brands just paint their products in green and just for the sake of optics and say, yes, we're a sustainable front. Where do you stand in that?
Ours is more of a transparent company. Like y'all are welcome to always walk in. Our chewing gum is 100% biodegradable. We have certifications for that. Our packaging, like I said, is audited, is counted for, and we recycle equal amount or actually more amount of plastic than we consume. So we are offsetting our plastic consumption in transit and in our packaging, and our gums are plastic free in general, right? So uh, brands are using the words just for optics and SEO and all of that, but we are not one of those. Rather, like I said, we are not even pushing up ourselves as a sustainable brand anymore. We're just a good for you and good for the planet kind of brand, right? Like good for the planet is the second part. We are just a good for you brand right now.
Okay. So you're eventually looking at a game where you are good for the planet as well.
Good for the planet, yes, we are. But what happens with the certain next range of products that we launch? They will be in the confectionery space, like candies, etc. Now, candies by default are plastic free, right? So we'll not be able to call ourselves a only sustainability brand. We'll be a better for you brand.
Better for you, brand. So in you are what is the ecosystem that you're planning to develop Good Gum into in your FMCG spectrum itself?
Well, anything in the impulse purchase category. If you walk into the supermarket, chewing gum sits at the billing counter because it's never a planned purchase. It's always, like you're in a hurry, you probably looked at it and you picked it up, right? So you want to build certain more products in the same category. So it could be candies, it could be lollipops, it could be tiny products like nutties, etc. So candy and confectionery is what we want to build in first, and then further see where it takes us. And we're also working on functional chewing gums.
Okay.
So
What
we're
are
working.
those?
So we spoke to our consumers. We do a lot of these calls to understand what the use cases of chewing gums are. And we realized a lot of people chew gum for different purposes.
Okay.
And we narrowed down on the top 3 use cases. Majority of the people chew gum to stay focused, to stay alert when they feel drowsy after a meal or when they feel sleepy in class. So we said, how about we actually improve the focus? So we make a caffeinated chewing gum, right? People are already chewing gum to stay focused, but with the caffeine, they will feel even more focused. Secondly, a lot of people chew gum in order to digest better. Doctors prescribe chewing gums to people who have acid reflux because when you chew gum, it helps you salivate, and that saliva helps in reducing the acid in your stomach. Uh, so we said, how about adding some probiotics and some enzymes and making a chewing gum that actually helps you digest better, right? And the third one is for a lot of people to de-stress, right? Like people when they're anxious, stressed out at work, etc., they chew gum. So we're looking at making certain de-stressing chewing gums using Ayurvedic herbs and vitamins, etc., to help them actually de-stress. So these are 3 functional routes that we're looking to take with chewing gum.
So when you're looking at a scaling aspect, do you think there will be cases where you have some primary USPs of wanting to solve hunger in the larger spectrum of things and sustainability and eventually making this product accessible? But when it comes into scaling in this day and age, do you think that you will have to cut corners or sometimes push one of your values into the back burner? Staunch values of the brand that you have now.
Yeah, so one of it is calling ourselves a plastic free company, right? We will have to use plastic in our packaging, right? Yes, my chewing gums are plastic free, but packaging will be plastic, right? I cannot use glass because it is going to be expensive. People don't want to pay a premium price just because I'm avoiding plastic in the packaging. So I think like we have to come at a middle ground where the consumer expects something out of the brand and the brand expects something out of the product. And we need to come at a common ground. Like I would love to be 100% plastic free company, but the consumer cannot afford it, right? So make a product which is plastic free, but don't have don't use, but use plastic in the packaging because it makes it cheaper, right? So when we launch few more products, we will have to throw our value of sustainability out, of 100% sustainability out, because we will use plastic in our packaging, right? But I don't think any other values will have to be thrown into the back burner. We are a good company. We will be the good amongst the bad. As much as possible, make products that are cleaner and healthier than the rest of the products in the ecosystem.
Okay. So with these values, how does the whole investment game for a startup work? Are obviously, once again, sustainability and 100% vegan, all of those are just marketing tropes. At least that's what the larger audience believes so. So how does it work in the whole investment game? Especially for instance, you've been on Shark Tank, you've been pitched there. And we've seen deals fall after the handshake.
Yeah.
How was your journey? Tell me about your journey.
So we got a deal on air. We agreed on air, but came out, we got a better valuation outside of Shark Tank. So we we didn't go ahead with the deal on that we received on Shark Tank. We picked funds from people who are third parties, right?
Okay.
Um, with respect to chewing gum and sustainability, there's not a lot of investors out there because it's a small market size, unlike usual beverage companies or snack companies where the market size is much larger. Investors are looking at companies, looking at markets which are 10,000 crore plus. But chewing gum as a market is only 1,000 crores in India, right? So the old school VC will not look at chewing gum as a lucrative market right now. But that's again something that we're out there to prove wrong. People have been chewing gum only for leisure until now, but with Good Gum, we want to show to the world or show to India that chewing gum has to be a part of your lifestyle every day. And these could be with the different use cases that we're looking to push out. Until today, you've been only consuming caffeine in the form of drinks, but today I'm giving you a alternate with a chewing gum, right? So you will chew at least 3 gums a day, right? Similarly, a person who's having digestive issues will chew at least 3 gums a day. So that is automatically driving increase in the overall chewing gum market, right? So yeah, to answer your question, not a lot of investment available out there for cleaner brands, but there's a lot of alternate funding that is available. You can pick up grants, you can get incubated. There's a lot of government schemes for smaller MSMEs in the food space that you can use those schemes and get your machines at a subsidized prices.
Okay.
So yeah, VC is not the only way to go. There's a lot of alternate ways to fund your company as well.
Like when you're looking at funding on such a national platform, where did you ever feel like you've overreached? Like there is a higher, you're under more privy to more scrutiny rather. Have you ever felt that? Now you said that in a recent experience of a podcast, you had said something controversial about a particular product. Do you feel like that came because you, in your very nascent brand stage, were put on that platform where?
I think I'm the kind of person who think any marketing is good marketing. Right?
That's true.
It's never too late, never too early. Getting onto national television is not something that happens every day to everybody.
Correct.
And if you did get the opportunity, better early than never, right? So yeah, I was super happy to be able to get that opportunity, and I think we did a good job with respect to keeping the marketing on post that.
And where do you stand about these investors? They will push you to get their revenue and returns, right? Would you compromise as a founder? Would you ever compromise on anything just to keep your investors happy? And what do you suggest for people who have that pressure?
That's when choosing the right sort of investors comes into picture, right? When we went on Shark Tank, mails came in like left, right, center. There were like hundreds of mails coming into the mailbox saying, "Hey, I want to invest in your company. Hey, I have some money. I want to write a check for you." For us, it was not just about the money, but it was about money and what else, right? Like, can you bring in certain strategy? Can you help us connect, etc., etc. So money is available anywhere. You can walk into a bank and take a loan, right? So we were never on the lookout for an investor purely for the money, but we wanted investors who can actually help us get to places, right? So my humble request to any person who's looking to start up or raise investments is that raise funds from investors who really align with your frequency, right? If your plan for the company in the 5 years is X, but the investor's plan is Y, and there's no connection between the two, then you're going down south, right? So that's something what happened to the company that I worked in my first job as well. The founder was in the mindset of never making medicine or premixes or supplements. He was always on the mindset saying, yes, we are going to use Ayurvedic herbs and vitamins in a product, but we're never going to sell just those Ayurvedic herbs and vitamins. I'll put it in a watermelon juice and give it to women. Put it in a mango juice and give it to women, but not give just the powder, right? But the investors wanted hyperscaling, and hyperscaling could come with something that's cheaper and easier to sell, and that was these powders, right? And that's when my founder moved out of the company and
Dropped his dream.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now because of these investors and a lot of these companies on a global level have moved on from profit at any cost to profitable growth. So, how does that kind of change the business decisions that we have as a company, even when it comes into hiring, you're understanding, you're building your team?
Yeah.
So, how does it work?
So we've at Good Gum, we've been at the mindset of being profitable from day one. Apart from a few months here and there, we've always been EBITDA positive, right? Because we knew that raising funds in this space is going to be difficult.
Very difficult.
Rather just make enough profits for us to take that much profit and reinvest into the company and grow it slowly and sustainably. But I think with respect to even hiring, we're looking at people who are in it for the longer term and who are in it aligned with the vision, not just because it's a fancy place to work at, right? We're looking at people who are all-rounders rather than just like focused only on finance or focused only on ops. Yeah, we are a very lean team. 5 people sit in the office, and 18 people on the factory floor. But everybody who sits in the office knows everything about the business. Everybody can fill in each other's boots. Everybody know who the raw material suppliers are, where we sell, how we sell, etc., etc. So if I have to, it's more like a jigsaw puzzle. If I have to pick this piece and put it here, it'll fit in. So we're looking at all rounders. Yeah, they're super motivated with respect to the company. We're very frugal with our expenses as well. Again, to answer your thought, saying profit at any cost versus profitable growth, we're on the idea of profitable growth, that even if I do spend money on Instagram doing some ads, we'll ensure that it is profitable, right? Just to inflate our revenue numbers, we're not going to spend overboard, but only spend as much as it's going to be profitable at.
Fair enough. So you have a very unique product also in hand. What would and now everybody, there is always a high influx. There's no monopoly market in any of our industries. So what would your recommendation be to a person who's aspiring to be a founder of his own startup with a unique product in hand? What are the steps that he must keep in mind?
Unique product meaning
It could be
anything else, right?
It could be anything. And with our dynamic in the world, it could be anything.
Correct. So I think, see, with respect to a very niche product, it's very important to identify a market, right? What we did right initially is that we picked the right pockets, we picked the right markets, we picked the right events to be a part of, and the word automatically spread, right? We built a solid consumer persona. We identified brands that our target consumer interacts with, right? For example, as an exercise, you just sit down and understand that, okay, my target consumer interacts with, he probably works out at Cult. He then picks up coffee from a Third Wave or a Starbucks. He takes Uber to work. He uses clothes of this brand, right? And interact with all the events and all the consumers of these particular brands, because there's higher probability for you to sell your product to that person, right? So initially our marketing spend was very low, but we were able to get our initial first 100,000 customers very easily because we did that cycle. So for anybody looking to build with a differentiated product, first identify where your consumer is and make a prototype, make a product, and go out there and talk to consumers. So initially, we went to vegan flea markets. We went to sustainability-oriented flea markets because we knew people coming into vegan. So flea market is after something vegan. So it definitely makes sense to give them a vegan chewing gum. Similarly, sustainability flea market, people after sustainability, give them something sustainability-oriented. It'll work, right? So identify your market and make the product.
Identify a market and make the product. Okay. So now that can be easily automated with the integration of AI.
Yeah.
Correct? And AI, it is something that can be used even from your R&D to from the initial phase of developing your business till the execution phase. So where do you see human beings fitting in the future of such brands and such products? And in your brand as well.
Humans See, obviously, giving direction to AI is what humans' job is, right? Uh, how you use AI, what kind of cues you need to pick for your business. Uh, that's what the human is going to do, because I think nothing can replicate the way I think, right? Like my thought process is completely different. Probably a AI chatbot might not know what your next question is going to be, but I can already think of it because I've done a lot more conversations with people than he or she has, right? So I think we're looking to hire more people who can utilize AI to make our work easier than AI just take up our work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so your 5-member team now works that way.
Yeah, my 5 member my 5 member team does the job of 15 people, right? We don't need to do photo shoots anymore. We can create fantastic renders. We don't need to have a copywriter because we can make good content copy straight out of AI, right? So there's a lot of interaction happening there, and that's why the lean team works.
Mm. And so you set out with a purpose, and a lot of startups do have purpose. But purpose comes along with cost, effort, time.
Yeah.
And it also can get messy. What has costed you the most while you were sticking to your purpose?
What has costed me the most is my youth. I was probably 26 years old when I started this company, and now I'm 30, right? So I see my friends working at corporates, driving fancy cars because the corporates pay them heavily. I could have taken that route, but I chose not to. Yeah, and that's the luxury that I lost out in the last 5 years. But that's a choice that I picked to follow this dream and follow this passion.
That's really nice. But do you think if you could go back and say I should have done something different for the direction my company is going, what would it be?
Start much earlier. Probably start when I was in college. Right? Like I keep saying this to students wherever I go is like if you can start them while you're in college, nothing like it. Like just do it because you don't have to worry about paying rent. You don't have to worry about bringing bread to the table. You have that extra time. There's a lot of time to fail and recover and grow again. But when you're out there, when you have a lot more commitments, there's no time to fail. Where there's no way you can fall down. So if I could go back 10 years, I would just start up back then and figure out, burn my hands, understand. Yeah, that's something I would usually.
Is there a particular product and an alternative to Good Gum that you are interested in making?
Alternative to Gud Gum, not, but there are a few products that we are looking to build in the Gud Gum's pipeline. So working on naturally sugar-free mints, which is again great for diabetics, for people who don't like chewing gum, but they like the flavor of it. So everything the gum has without the gum is what we're looking to launch. That's the meat. And that can also work as a flavor booster. A lot of times people want to throw the gum away because the flavor goes away. But I can give you a candy that you can just chew along with the gum and the gum will become flavorful again.
Like a booster.
Exactly. A flavor booster which also works as a candy. We're working on a high protein alternative to nutties.
Okay.
So nutties are high sugar, but it's super addictive. So you are working on a snack that is high protein by default naturally, but also as tasty as nutties.
Okay. What about the whole consumption that is currently ongoing about these melatonin and your biotin gummies? Where do you stand? The plastic usage there, the consumption usage there.
The plastic noodles is not about it. They're all gummies. They're not chewing gums.
That's why is it something that Good Gum would?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So chewing gum is a far more superior drug delivery method than gummies and capsules. What happens with gummies is you put in your mouth, you chew it a couple of times for about 10 seconds and you swallow it, right? And the stomach is super acidic. And all of these ingredients like melatonin or any vitamins, minerals, etc., they're pH sensitive, they're temperature sensitive, which means that they go into an acidic nature, they might get denatured, right? They won't do the job they're supposed to do. And our stomach is very acidic. So when you do chew these gummies, if you consume, for example, a 1 gram ashwagandha gummy, It goes into your stomach. Probably 80% of it gets burnt because of the stomach acids, and 20% is how much your body is absorbing it. So looking at the packaging, you will say, okay, I consume 1 gram, but your body only absorbed 20% of it. 80% is just excreted out, right? So the efficacy of gummies is low because it goes through the digestive tract, right? But with chewing gum, you're chewing it in your mouth for 20 to 25 minutes. And majority of the absorption happens in the oral capillary itself, right? There are blood vessels inside the mouth which absorbs all of these ingredients. So it doesn't have to go through the digestive tract. Everything goes into the blood directly, right? So that's the reason why we're looking to use chewing gum, and say it's far more efficient than gummies. It's gummies came into the picture because tablets and capsules are difficult to swallow. And now chewing gums will be better than gummies because they are far more efficient than gummies, right? So that's the trajectory that we are looking to take with Gud Gum. So I think, yeah, these products are great. The melatonin was the biotin. But yeah, if companies are super honest about what they do, right now I'm very skeptical of buying all these products from the market because I don't know if they are up to the mark about what they claim. Right? If they can actually be super transparent and show people test reports that we are using this ingredient from so and so company, then it makes sense. Because when you actually go out and buy ingredients, you will find, for example, biotin, which is 10x the cost and also 2x the cost, right? Now, which ingredient is the company using is also very important. The 2x one might not get absorbed by your body also. You might just consume like 1,000 of those gummies and your hair will not look nice, right? So which brand is the company buying from, right? So that kind of transparency, if it comes in, it's easier for consumers to choose their product.
In this day and age, all of us are out there reading. It's a habit for now, everybody to look at the ingredients that are getting listed.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a good thing and a bad thing if you're the manufacturer of it. It's up
Not the bad thing. Bad thing for the larger companies, maybe.
Correct, because they, in the name of alternate medicine, you don't know. Like there is a particular brand that produces something with Tiger. Nobody knows what Tiger is.
Okay.
Melatonin and Tiger combination.
Okay.
And it's a big brand also.
Okay.
But the consequences of using that product is much higher, but it's still in the brand. It's still in the market. So everyone can make tall claims about, but do you think when it's in the market and when there are consumers that are taking it from the shelf, they're actually going to read it every single time? Or are you saying that if, for instance, only a product that is marked at a higher price is actually worthwhile of using, or the 2x that we were talking about is also good enough?
No, I'm not talking about the cost of the product. I'm talking about, say, if Gud Gum, the company, has option to buy 2 different biotins in order to make a biotin chewing gum, right? I have a manufacturer who will give me biotin at 200 rupees a kilo, and there's a manufacturer who's giving me biotin at 20,000 rupees a kilo. As a manufacturer, what am I doing to first understand how are these biotins different and what is better for my consumer, right? Because I don't expect consumers to do all the research and say, okay, this is the good product. But I would rather, as a manufacturer, take responsibility and give the best to my consumer, right? So what are companies doing to give a better product to their consumer? That's the transparency I'm talking about.
And you don't think that companies these days are that transparent despite the accessibility to information?
Definitely not. How will you identify the ingredient used in a product unless and until the company actually puts it out?
Correct. But is it a very cost efficient thing for you to be like informing every single?
It is not efficient. Yeah. Can be. Why not?
And why do you think that they would do that?
Because the margins will not be justified there, right? Okay. So there's company A and there's company B, both selling biotin gummies. Company A is using the shitty biotin. Company B is using the great biotins. Company B definitely has to sell the gummies at a high, expensive price. But because company A knows that company B is selling at, say, 20 rupees a gummy, but the cost of this product is actually 6 rupees a gummy, but he knows that, okay, people are anyways going to spend 20 for this, I'll make a product at 17 bucks. But the logical price of this product is only 6. The company will make profits at the end, right? So that's basically adulterating, basically selling substandard products, right? There's so many supplement companies out there. There's so many protein companies out there. There's Whole Truth that sells protein at 4,500 rupees a kilo. And there are other brands that sell protein at 1,200 rupees a kilo. As a consumer, how do I know what to choose? I'll look at Whole Truth. I'll say, okay, yes, this is GMP certified. They're ISO certified. They import their protein from Ireland, etc. So I am hoping that this is going to be better.
What's the
And I'll buy it, right? Whereas a shady company selling at 1,500 rupees might be a great product. Might be Whole Truth is making a good margin out of it, but they're vocal about it, right? Their founder is accessible. He appears on podcasts. He talks to people. He probably might even respond to your LinkedIn message, your LinkedIn caption. So I'm higher probability as a consumer to buy a product from that company than a shady company selling it something cheaper.
So when in the current industry where, like we were talking about, everyone's coming out there saying my product is the most unique product, what do you really think that people should be looking out for as a consumer? You are a manufacturer. What are the things that you think all consumers should keep in mind?
Okay, as a consumer, firstly, I'd like to buy from smaller brands. Smaller brands, even if they're expensive, just to support their cause. And buy from brands that are again transparent, at least have a decent digital presence, have an accessible team. So I bought, for example, chocolate from a brand a month ago, and the product still not delivered. Right? I send in a mail, there's no response. I write a message to the founder on LinkedIn, no response. They've shut the comments on Instagram because I think there's a lot more people who's going to comment on the post saying, "Hey, where's my order?" So definitely not from those kind of brands, but brands that are active and which have a decent founder presence or a team presence, right? So as a consumer, I also just look at the ingredient list and just go by the belief of the ingredient list saying the company is actually putting in what it claims, right? Yeah, that's what with the small brand, that's the case, right? How else will you be able to fight the larger companies? Now, a large company sells a toothpaste at $20, but a smaller company sells the same toothpaste at 100 rupees. Now, is the other company doing all it takes to justify the cost to people? If it's just putting a 100 rupee product out there, maybe I'm not buying. But if I've heard about the product, if I know why it's expensive, I buy the product, right? Or what the mission is, etc. I'll buy the product. Otherwise, I think for a consumer, there's no way to identify what's real and what's not.
A lot of these brands that, like, since the texting ordered from a small brand and you're having logistics issues where their marketing was good enough for you to purchase that,
Yeah.
but their logistics didn't adhere to it.
Yeah.
So why will I, as a consumer, knowing that this is more frequent behavior of a particular brand, why would I want to buy a small brand? It's easier, more accessible, bigger brand. Correct. Why do you advise otherwise?
Why do I? Because there's a lot more smaller brands out there, right? Just because one small brand did something wrong doesn't mean you paint a bad picture of all the small brands out there, right? I feel, see, when I came back from the UK, my whole idea was to build better for you products in the food space because I knew in India there were no alternatives back then, right? In 2017, the only chips that were available were Lay's and the Kurkure, all coming from Frito-Lay, Mexico, right? It's the only plastic packaging and all of that. The only beverages that were available were Pepsi and Coke and the likes of it, right? A lot of these indie brands didn't come in, made healthier versions of it. A lot of protein brands did come in, right? Yoga Bar came in with a snack bar first, right? And that's when the larger companies saw that, okay, they are doing a small company doing a big job creating a category. How about we also make a product, right? So I think smaller brands are fighting a larger war here. The larger brands are for example, me, I'm selling a plastic-free chewing gum, a healthier version of a chewing gum. A larger brand wants to do it, they can come in and kick us out like this, right? And that's when the consumer has to support the person who did it first. Correct. Right? That's why I'm a big fan of small brands. I would definitely always recommend all of my friends, whoever are looking for any product, the first thing I say, okay, if you're buying protein, then I'll give you 6 brands. 6 small brands. Don't buy from that larger brand. Try these 6 small brands first, right? So if all of us can inculcate that habit, then those smaller brands will someday become those large brands.
And
And you'll be proud that you supported them from day one.
that is something, but then again, it's like this same pop culture issue. When someone's a gate-kept artist for a while, they're doing fantastic. But as soon as they come into the limelight, the artists, they have some personality issue, something.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Correct. This is the same, not all, no hashtags or on Monday, and I'm not saying anything else, but not all something
Yeah.
kind of trope. But there are chances where it gets diluted. That's exactly what I'm saying. When you're scaling, you have to cut corners. You have to make compromises. Where is that line that you draw?
You draw a line properly, like a proper visible line, that I don't want to scale at the expense of throwing my ethics and values out of my body. Simple, right? If we wanted to scale faster, I would make a sugar gum. I would make a plastic-free but sugar-sweetened chewing gum, and be able to sell that gum at 1.5 rupee a piece. And we want to do it because over time, I know people are going to get cavities because of that sugar gum.
And they're going to find out.
They're gonna, and not going to find out. It's illogical for you to consume a sugary chewing gum, right? So even though I knew I could make a larger business out of it, right? A lot of people can't afford the sugar-free chewing gum, but they can afford a cheaper sugar chewing gum. I didn't want to do it. Simple, right? So if the founder and the brand can say it's all right, we don't want to scale that fast, but we will definitely not do this, don't do it, right? Yoga Bar until now made fantastic products. Like I've been following Yoga Bar's journey since 2017. They've done everything that it takes to build a category. What was snack bars before that? Did you know of a snack bar? No, Yoga Bar did it, right? Muesli for breakfast, who knew? Muesli, granola, those guys did it. Only now when they got acquired by a larger company like ITCs, when they started cutting corners and throwing their values out of picture, because there are more decision makers in the space. But until they did get acquired, I didn't see any product in their portfolio which was questionable, right? If it was clean, it was clean and forward.
What about the brands that have this positioning of being clean, but is now the marketing of it is done by a big celebrity? But in reality, they don't have enough credentials of the product actually being clean or truthful to what they are claiming. So does a big celebrity or a brand association with an individual the right way for you to scale as well?
Definitely not.
You would never?
Yeah, I'd rather be the celebrity for my brand and talk about my product, but rather than getting a celebrity who does not know anything about my product and just comes with me to shoot for a day and takes my money away. I'd rather use that money, splurge it on the brand itself, and educate people coming from within, right? I don't want to take names, but
I feel like we're thinking of the same person.
Yeah,
I think I did.
possibly. Yeah, but just having a brand endorsement from a large athlete or a celebrity does not mean that product is great, right? Jasprit Bumrah endorses Thumbs Up. Akshay Kumar endorses Sting. I'm pretty sure they don't even let one sip of that go into their stomach.
Yeah.
Right? So where are the ethics? Where's the ethos of the celebrity, right? You got to think on those lines.
They're just your marketing chattels, basically.
And that's I think that kind of marketing only works for the layman, right? Who are the mass, the public, basically. But educated, or educated is the wrong word, but people like myself, I will not fall for those gimmicks, right? Right now, the Gen Z will not fall for any gimmicks that come from celebrities. There's a lot more traction that can be brought from actual user-generated content or Instagram influencers. If used, the right kind of influencers can get you more views and more reach than just a celebrity endorsement.
But yeah, like you said, any marketing is good marketing at the moment.
But that's expensive to do. Like,
Yes,
everything's
expensive, very expensive.
And you'll probably get 100 UGC videos, or 100 good influencers to do videos at the cost of just one celebrity to.
But coming from the industry of it, of being associated with influencers. Don't you think you mentioned that
Influencers also are in sales.
yeah, I was going to say all of that in many words, but thank you for summarizing. But yeah, influencer, the whole industry, everyone thinks that they can be an influencer. And if anybody can be an influencer, then who is your audience?
No, what is, for me, I asked the question like, okay, what credibility do you have to influence me? Right? I think the Jeffrey should now move from influencer to educator, right? I am more likely to buy a protein powder if Jitendra Choksi or Fitter with JC recommends that to me than just a good looking model kind of looking guy, right? Because he is far more educated and he's not influencing, but he's educating that this is why the protein is far more superior, right? So influencing is in the past. We don't collaborate with any influencers or anybody who calls themselves influencers also, but rather just work with clinical nutritionists, some like sports psychologists, some fitness trainers, and give them the product and actually get feedback from them and use that feedback as our advertisement.
That in its truest sense makes a lot of sense to me, but
You can't filter out.
you can't filter out. That is one major thing. Second, you're creating an audience segmentation where, like we spoke about this at the start, you're creating an audience segment that loves the educators, but also uses the quick commerce and your online platforms to purchase whatever they need. So how are you solving this problem? Like your product is sold predominantly offline, but your consumers are predominantly online.
Correct.
And there is that gap.
Yeah.
How do you think the gap is ever?
We're present across the channel.
Okay.
Across the horizon, not just T2C, not just quick com, not just offline. A lot of brands are just building either just offline or either just online. We are present everywhere, right? Our only ideology on the internet is educate people and the sale will automatically happen, right? We have no way where we can identify where a particular sale is coming from, right?
Okay.
But we know that, okay, there's a certain amount of spend that we're going to put onto Instagram to educate people, and that's about it. And the sale will automatically trickle down to the stores, trickle down to the QuickCom, trickle down to Amazon, etc., etc.
We were talking about influencer and how they are now the biggest tools that brands use to reach the audiences. But as off camera, our conversation mentioned that the ideas always start at the grassroots. Do you fear that in the current trend of everyone moving into a better for us kind of a lifestyle, do you think that a big giant will come in, scoop you up? And what are the fears that you face as a worker?
A big giant will definitely come and be more than happy if they do, right? Like if they do come and scoop me up, I hope they just buy us out because, see, today distribution is the most expensive part of doing business. Like making the product is easy. Selling to probably 100,000 customers is easy, but yeah, talking about 100 crore population in India that should be chewing this gum, it's not easy to do. So definitely the larger brands and the smaller brands had to work in synergies, right? The larger brands come with the distribution muscle and the smaller brands come with that R&D and that initial trial and error that they've done. So we'd be more than happy if a larger company thinks potential in Gud Gum and buys us out or help become strategic partners where they're distributing our product, right? Yeah, if a larger brand does come in, that's like the reassurance to our idea that hey, like we are in the right space because even the larger companies do the same thing.
Correct. But that if it's a collaboration of ideas, okay. If it's going to be eradication, it's going to be a challenge.
There's going to be a challenge. Yeah,
That's how life is. You just have to move on with it. It's not something in your control. That's when we say if the consumers are going to be loyal to us and not buy from the larger company, then that's the way for us.
But that once again, that is a small business. Once again, we're coming back into the small business aspect. A lot of a small business, they always start off, but when it comes into the growth phase or the scaling phase, it becomes a challenge. And what was the predominant challenges that you faced during that time?
The predominant challenge was, obviously we can't have the form factor of a polished product that a larger company manufactures, right? Our chewing gums, if you actually have a look at it, they're all hand cut so that the shapes and sizes are uneven. A lot of people have issues with that because they are used to consuming orbit, which is absolutely perfect in shape, size, shine, etc. We can't do that, right? So educating people that hey, they're a small batch company, those equipment that's used to make those are far more expensive. That was one. Second, why is your gum expensive? Justify that. That's the second biggest task. And third is obviously if we had the funds to distribute, if we had the funds, we would be distributing in a far more number of places. Right now we're in about 500, 600 stores because the demarcator between 600 stores to 3,000 stores is 1 crore worth of capital. When you go to a supermarket, a lot of users ask her, hey, why aren't you present in Namdharis or why aren't you present in Nature's Basket or any of those? All of that comes at an expense.
Correct.
They take an upfront cost for you to place your product there. And as a company, will I want to spend that one-time cost to place my product in just 5 stores, or rather spend that money on Instagram that can bring in more amount of sale, right? So that if we had the funds, we'll be present in a lot more places. So these are a few challenges that we faced initially.
So you do have like an array of like multiple, around 5 flavors are there now.
Around 13 flavors.
13 flavors. Oh, I got that wrong. So there are about 13 flavors now. Well, if you could pick one particular flavor and chew on it for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Lemon.
The lemon for sure?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've not gotten the lemon yet. Then I need to get the lemon for sure. But so eventually, what would be a marketing choice that you at the moment don't want to make, but would probably take?
Marketing choice. Marketing choice. What do you mean marketing choice?
Marketing choices, for instance, let's just go back into our influencers. It's okay. What would that be a trope that you take if that influencer is an educator that who's accessible to you? Would you ever do that, or are you still going to be the face of your brand?
I for as much as possible, I'd love to be the face of a brand. But if I'm able to get a good influencer, a good educator, to be honest, who has a very loyal fan base, then definitely, like collaborate and make a co-branded product with them.
And obviously, the compromises that you have to possibly make with their purpose, and you're open to that?
That's why I make a co-branded product.
Okay. Fair enough. And if you were to write a quote or a single line for the founders of the next gen or upcoming founders or the ones who are going to kick off, what would that be?
Oh, for the founders, yeah, my life ethos is eat and let eat.
Yeah.
Right? But for the founders, I'd say like the Nike's slogan, just do it, right? A lot of people have ideas, but they never execute it. And those ideas just remain ideas, and that turns into regret. The youngsters, honestly, the differentiator between a person who did it and did not is doing it.
Okay.
So if you have an idea to just sell cold coffee, you think you make a very good cold coffee, make your 100 bottles, go outside a park, sell it. At least you started. You'll get some feedback, you'll get some sale, you'll get some hate maybe, but at least you did it, right? All of us had the idea to do something except turn clip. All of us were sitting on the couch someday thinking, oh, what if we could just get chips delivered in like 5 minutes? But didn't anybody do it? No. And the guys who did it are now unicorns, right? So,
Dude. But about the hate, how have you handled the hate? I'm sure that
take it with a pinch of salt. Hate will definitely come. I'm a trained food scientist. When we make a product, it is impossible to please all 100 people that ate it, right? Just for instances, I'm drinking a cold coffee or drinking a hot coffee, right? Not all palates are the same. So it's all right. You will have that hate. There will be 15, 20 people who absolutely hate your product. But if there are 80 people who absolutely love your product, right? Or would stand by it come what may, then that's a big, right? There's a lot of times my team reaches out saying, hey, this person particularly put a comment on your Instagram, and that comment is trending. A lot of people are liking it. I said, it's all right. That's a personal choice. We didn't like it, right? I love the lemon. A lot of people hate the lemon, right? So hate will definitely come, but yeah, it's how much is in your control. if I can take that feedback and actually rework on it and make a better product so that I can convert that customer from hating it to loving it, do it. If that's not something in my control, like the feedback that we get, flavor does not last. No, that's not in my control, right? For whatever is in my control, I'm trying to do, but I'm not going to use an artificial sweetener. So if that's the hate that's coming from those haters, then let them be haters.
And see, the concept of a gum being an oral addition into us is super healthy living. Do you think that medically it's a viable thing?
Yeah.
Medically, people are going to be okay with the usage of gum if you're a particular product.
100%.
And it's been research back. Because I noticed you have
Been chewing gum, right?
we've been chewing twigs.
Yeah.
You use tree sap.
Correct. Yes.
So it's the same cow.
It is coming from a tree. It's coming from the plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very, one is sustainable for the environment, sustainable for your body.
Correct. Anything overdone is wrong. Right. Coffee is great if you have 2 cups a day. If you have 10 cups a day, obviously that's not great, right? So where do you draw that fine line, or that, like where you understand, okay, this is good and this much is not?
That's very true.
Yeah.
And what would your in this current generation, what would your peace of your mind for the general audience of anybody taking digitally who's looking to find their own investors, what would your final say be to them?
Who looking to build their company?
Looking to build their companies.
I keep saying this also is, make things or sell things that you yourself will use or consume. If it's food, make something that you will consume every day. If it's a service, do something that you will use every day, right? Just because you can make a lot of money in a short time span by selling, I'm just talking about food. It's very easy to make money if I make a high sugar, high fat, high salt product, right? I can make something super addictive, super sweet, super high on energy, high on caffeine, etc. But is that something I will consume, or will I want my kid to consume it on a daily basis? Maybe not, right? You think the CEO of Coca-Cola drinks 4 cans of Coke every night, every day? Never, right? So my only piece of advice to even kids who are looking to build something is, be addictive with what you do, and don't put anybody's health. A lot of addictive games are being made today. Right? Kids have such bad mental trauma and syndromes and disorders because of those games. Why was that game built in the first place? Right? Don't do it. So that's my thoughts on.
So a lot of products these days are in for dopamine hits. They all cater to that. Does it give you an adrenaline rush? Yes. Does it give you dopamine? Yes. Because our bodies in the current way that it is, we don't produce it ourselves.
Right.
So how do we stick to that keto?
But people just misuse it, no? Dream11, all of these companies came in to take people away from gambling, but it became more of a gambling platform, and they face the brunt of it, right? I've never played a game like PUBG in my life. I never want anybody in my circle to play it as well, because I've seen people super addicted to it. So, to the person who built that game, if he knew it was that addictive, why would he do it? Like, yes, I know you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making a lot of money, but does it help you sleep in the night when you know that there are thousands and crores of kids who are having attention disorders because of the game they played? And I've seen such bad videos. Just example again, a high sugar product like a Sting or a Coca-Cola. It's convenient. Yes, they say you're not supposed to consume more than 1 a day or 2 a day, but how many people actually read those warnings? Red Bull says clearly you don't consume more than 2 cans a day, but on a single night of a party or something, probably people drink 6-8 a day. If that becomes a lifestyle, you're definitely going to be hypertensive, you're going to have heart issues, and you're going to probably die at an earlier age, right? So why make products like that in the first place?
Correct. But see, life works in a way where there is black, white, and gray. Right? If all of us are going to try to have the moral ethos that you are mentioning, do you think that there will be the opportunities that we have at the moment? Because everyone's going to be thinking twice. No one's going to be taking that action. No one's going to want to do something because they're like, oh, it's not morally right. We can't be right all the time. So where do you stand on that?
I've never thought on those lines, but for me, I want to be morally fully right, and that's where I'm being.
Ha.
It's for the
That's good. It's 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's a 1 out of 10 thing. So you're telling me there'll be 1 out of 10 startup founders only because everyone's going to be morally right.
I don't know how to answer that.
Finally, I've asked you a question that you haven't answered before.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. Thank you so much for coming. I had a lovely conversation with you. It was great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Like.